What would your father say to the people of Ferguson right now?
Well, I think, first of all, he would say to the family, send his condolences to this father and mother who've lost their son. Then he would certainly caution and encourage calm, although perhaps he would say that violence is the language of the unheard.
Yeah, many people say that, and they say it almost in the context of an excuse for showing violence because their voice is not heard.
That is certainly not an excuse, but intellectually, maybe one can sort of understand the frustration here in this context.
Families, especially minority families, specifically black families, in the case of this and many other cases we've seen across the country, are forced to talk to their male children, to their sons, about how they should behave in front of police officers, to be wary of police officers. Why, in this day and age, are we still having that conversation in families? I asked, actually, Dr. Cedric Alexander with DeKalb County that very question.
We're going to continue to have this conversation, partly because we don't talk about it until something like this happens. And then when we try to talk about it in the climate in which it is happening, no one is listening to each other, because it certainly is challenging that you or I, of any of us, have to teach our children of color that you have to act different than anyone else. Is that fair? Absolutely not. We know that we have this historical backdrop in this country of police and communities of color, specifically black and brown, not having a very good history together historically. But we have made incredible progress over the years as well too. But upon occasion, and more frequently than we would like, we're seeing this a little bit too often.
Mm-hmm. What's your thought on that?
Well, I certainly would concur that not only are we seeing it too often, but I do believe a police officer is in a state of a war all the time. And if he or she is not transitioned back and forth, I mean, how do you, when someone operates in an environment that they think is uncivil, and then you ask them to act civil without some training, it's not going to happen. Now, as it relates to communities of color, a lot of this is still racial profiling. I think that as quickly as possible, some degree of justice has to occur. Now, how that manifests itself, I think the Justice Department itself has come forward differently than it did in the Trayvon Martin case. They are
the FBI is going to be investigating, yes.
Directed, I guess, or encouraged by the Justice Department, by the Attorney General. I think that that is going to dictate a lot.